Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James A.Z. Cooley, and wow, we got a very powerful show coming your way today. We're going to talk about something that near and dear to my heart, our heritage, and everything that I believe that was instilled in me from as being a young black man, as a kid, all the way up to today. Thoughts and beliefs and rituals that we still abide by today. What we're talking about is celebrating Black History Month. I think every day should be all type of history, not just Black history, whatever Hispanic history should be. Every heritage should be celebrated, but it was introduced into law, Black History Month. We're going to talk a little bit more about that one in a few minutes, but I can't even start a show without bringing on the executive producer and the co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
Doing great, doing great. Yes, we are celebrating Black History Month. And, we don't have enough time in this show to go over all the people, all the pioneers, in the past, presently, who have contributed to so many things regarding Black history. We're going to talk about a few. We're going to talk about how it all got started, first of all, and the man behind it. But we're just excited to have the show today.
Well, I'm excited about the guest that's going to help narrate this. My main man, Dr. Terry Spain. Yeah, I know you haven't seen him on the show many, many times. You're probably going to see him on the show many, many more. But just understanding why it's important that we understand the achievements of so many African Americans that have put sweat, tears, gave their lives so that we can be free and so that we can continue to grow, so we can pass the generations to come. The importance of always remembering who you are and where you come from. So, Michelle, can you identify the title of the show, purpose of the show, and bring this great guest on?
Well, yes. So the title of today's show is Celebrating Black History Month. And as James mentioned, him, myself, and Dr. Terry Spain is going to discuss, how Black History Month had its roots in the contributions of several pioneers who worked towards recognizing and celebrating the achievements of African Americans. And we're going to talk about how it all began. It actually began in a week, and then it increased to a month. But we're going to have Dr. Cooley go over that. So we're really excited about this show. And our guest co-host today, Dr. Terry Spain, he's an author, he's a CEO, he's a military veteran, he's an entrepreneur. He is so many more things. And we welcome you back to the show. Thank you, Dr. Spain.
Hey, good. Is it afternoon? Yeah, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, and thanks for having me back. I appreciate that. This is going to be a great topic, and it's something that I would never get tired of talking about. So this is perfect.
Yeah, and congratulations, man. I know you're going to be speaking in Colorado. You got some events coming up this month, and they chose the right person to do that. But Terry, before we start, I want our viewers and our listeners, we got a couple other folks going to be chiming. We got Keisha and we got Lala. They're going to be chiming in with us real soon as well. But I want our viewers and listeners to understand just a little bit about what Black History Month is. Just like Michelle mentioned a minute ago, that it started out as a 1 week. I forgot what they call it, Negro History Week or something, but here we go. Hey,
Yeah.
Carter G. Woodson, the founder. Can you talk about him a little bit? Let our viewers and understand what was going through this man's mind. I mean, not what was going through his mind, but he saw a vision out there. He saw the things that he had to go through, and his ancestors had to go through, and it was a lot of, just like I said, sweat, tears, and many gave their lives. But he turned his thoughts and dreams into making sure that we honor the celebrations of not just the ones that came before us, but the ones that in the present and the ones that's going to be coming after us. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, Carter G. Woodson. I mean, what a phenomenal human being. You know, he saw the importance of celebrating African Americans and all the accomplishments that we have done up to that time when he was alive. So he took it upon himself to utilize February as a month. And I know there's a lot of folks that would always say, well, why do we get the shortest month of the year and all these different things? But one of the reasons why he selected February is for Frederick Douglass. His birthday is in February, and also Abraham Lincoln. His birthday is in February as well. So those were some of the driving forces, or the reasoning why he chose, or he wanted February to be that particular African Americans to be in that particular month, but for the celebration. But quite honestly, any month would have done it. I mean, for me, and I tell people this all the time, African American History Month is not just in February for me, and it shouldn't be for everyone, because African American history is American history. So, but it just so happened that we pinpoint this month of February, courtesy of Carter G. Woodson, for who's also known as the father of Black History Month. So he saw fit that we needed to get more of our voices heard and our history shared towards everyone. So initially, like you mentioned before, it was a week, but it moved to a month, and I'm excited. And I'm glad that they did change that, and they honored his wishes.
You know, over the last, I guess, 100+ years, we have been trying to get a celebration month. Why do you think it took until 1976 before the President of the United States actually recognized that Black achievement should be honored and should be celebrated? And I do believe that we still have major challenges today with that, because many out there, they don't see the significance of this, but we do. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, for obvious reasons, we know why it probably took that long. But I mean, because if you look at it, in the '60s, African Americans were fighting for a Civil Rights Act. So that's only a few years after the African American History Month was actually into fruition. So there was a lot of. It just goes to show you, for us, it goes to show you the strength and the courage and the fortitude that African Americans had to see this thing to the end. It could have died off, and folks could have forgot about it, and we could have just continuously had that month. But just to show the fortitude that we have as African Americans and how important this month is, because we contributed a lot to this country, and the theme this year is African Americans in the arts. And so from the arts, we can go many different places as what African Americans have contributed.
You mentioned Frederick Douglass, and you know he was a major pioneer behind a lot of things that was shaped, and including shaped in the laws, because he had opportunities to work hand in hand with presidents and to recognize some of the achievements and what it was going to take. He had what I call vision. He saw, not just during the time that he was there, he saw generations to come and the evolution, how we was going to evolve, especially when it comes to education, when it comes to equal rights, when it comes to being able to prosper. Tell me what your thoughts on Frederick Douglass, which is also one of the key pioneers during this day to making sure that we shape this generation to where we are today.
Well, I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, with Frederick Douglass, I mean, you can go so many different ways with him, but this to show how important he was to history. And like you mentioned, he had an opportunity to interact with presidents. You know, Frederick Douglass have done. The biggest thing for me is I think that a lot of people always look at folks who have done stuff recently, and they tend to forget about the people who have done and paved the way for those folks that people look up to now. So with Frederick Douglass, he's just a person that paved the way for your Martin Luther Kings, your W.E.B. Du Bois, your Langston Hughes, all these different pioneers that we look up to, or we often talk about. He was the one that he was one of the ones that actually paved the way.
And you're absolutely right. And, you know, we're going to take a station break, but we're going to ask Keisha, we're going to ask Sonia, we're going to have to ask Laura pop in on the next segment so they can, you know, chime in on these great conversations, because we got a lot more coming your way. And if you want to be part of the conversation, regardless of where you're at in the world, regardless of where you're at, whichever platform that you're watching this on, whether it's E360 television, transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and over 55 other live platforms, all you have to do is just go to the comments and ask Dr. Terry, myself, or the panel that's getting ready to come in any question that you might have. I promise you, we can get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Hey, I'm so drawn to you. I'm so drawn to you.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, the topic that we're talking about today, we celebrate Black History Month. We also celebrating the pioneers of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And that's how history is done. We have to continue to evolve. Terry, I'm gonna ask Keisha and Sonia and Lala to pop in if they can just turn their cameras on and pop in with us and join us if they like. So looking forward to having them on. We got Sonia right here. How you doing? How you doing, Sonia? How you doing?
I definitely
Sonia,
know who that is.
she's on mute. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey, so happy to have you on the show today. So happy to have you, especially during this great celebration. And I say every day should be a celebration because to us, it's Black History every day. And not just in the matter of just celebrating Black people, whatever that is. It's just understanding that we belong and we have built a lot of, especially in the United States, not just the United States, but around the world, a lot of other countries, and we didn't get a whole lot of credit for it. And so we want to talk about all of those type of things. And so, Terry, I'm going to turn it back over to you as it relates, but I want to talk about some of the great pioneers. Last month, I did a special show on Dr. Martin Luther King, and we know that he was a great pioneer. Sacrifice, really gave up his life for the civil rights and all of the other things that was so instrumental to us being where we are today. And so I want to hear you and Sonia's perspective on that. And we're going to talk about a lot of those. We're going to talk about Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman. We're going to talk about all of those things. We're going to talk about the museum that you were telling me about as well, T. So I want to get off all of those great things. So T, you got it.
Yeah. So as it relates to Dr. Martin Luther King, I mean, I had an opportunity to go to Hotel Lorraine in Memphis, Tennessee. And I have to be honest with you, that totally changed my life when I had an opportunity to go there. And just to see, what you read in your history books is that's great too. But when you have an actual opportunity to go and see the location where it happened was actually pretty heartwarming. And just knowing that all the stuff that he's done, he paid the ultimate sacrifice, which was, giving his life to as well, and one of the things that I had an opportunity to meet his son, Dr. Martin Luther King, III. And when I was living in Washington, D.C., and I just kept staring at him when I first met because he looks just like his dad, And so when he and I had the opportunity to talk, I just told him, I said, hey, I don't mean to, just keep staring because sometimes I'm not lost for words, but at that time I was, because I had an opportunity to meet him in March. They had the anniversary, the March on Washington, when I was living there. So I had an opportunity to be one of the front runners of walking in that March on Washington alongside him, Al Sharpton, and there was a lot of other powerful and influential people that was there leading the march. So for me, having an opportunity to march with them and the anniversary of the March on Washington was phenomenal. So we all know what Dr. Martin Luther King did for this country, and I'm extremely, extremely humble and grateful for what he's done.
Sonia, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Dr. King definitely paved the way, but it's funny how that's where we always pick up civil rights history, right? Everyone thinks that's the beginning of it, but just to be honest with you, civil rights started even before King, right? King have definitely had the dream and did so much for us, but I like to take us back to a time in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. There was a man named Harry T. Moore. And that's the museum I'm sure Dr. Terry Spain was trying to tell you about. That was a man who could have mind his business, but he didn't, right? He had a wife, two little girls to look after, but he was the most hated black man in the state of Florida. He was before I Had a Dream Today. He was even before By Any Means Necessary. And how come nobody ever heard about him? He fought for three things, and that was equal pay for black teachers. He investigated every lynching that took place in the state of Florida. And it was instrumental for him to get every black registered. He registered over 116,000 blacks to register to vote. And not only just registered, but made sure they wouldn't vote. So he changed the makeup of the Florida political system down here as we knew it back then. So he was truly a man before his time. And I think sometimes we have to recognize whose shoulders we're standing on, right? And I thank God for Dr. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, and Harry T. Moore and Harriet Moore, who paved that way for us today, because where would we be, right?
Absolutely. And you're right. I hadn't heard a whole lot about the gentleman that you just talked about, but it's important that we put this out and we let all of us know history. History just didn't start with all of the names that we
Right.
know, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, all that. It started with a lot of others that paved the way, and that their spirit and their legacy continue to pave the way. So um, I'm so excited about that. We're gonna talk about that museum. I'm interested to learn a little bit more about that one later on during the show. Um, but Martin Luther King was instrumental as it comes to the boycott, bus and boycott, and Rosa Parks was the person that was chosen to stand up and do what she had to do. And I bet there was a lot of pressure on her shoulders because of what was going on during that time frame. But if we don't stand up and if we don't stand for something, we're gonna fall for everything that comes our way.
Yeah.
So hey, Terry, you want to talk about Rosa Parks a little bit?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that she was the secretary of the NAACP chapter, but she took what I say is a lot of people. It took a lot of courage for her to do what she did, because when she refused to give up her seat, that could have been the end of her life. And it goes to show you how many people are actually willing to give up their lives for the cause. And she did that, even though she didn't give up her life, but she was willing to. And I think that really helped out a lot in showing not only African Americans, but other ethnicities too, who were actually fighting for equal rights as well. That if you have a woman here that's sitting here that says that I'm not giving up my seat, what are you? So it even though she didn't give up her seat, she actually in some aspects, in some ways, she challenged other people to do the same.
You are absolutely right. Challenge a lot of other people, but courage. Courage
Yeah,
is something that many of us do not have, right?
exactly.
We are here, I believe, to. I know what I feel. I have purpose. I believe that God sent me here for a reason, and if I had to make the ultimate sacrifice in order to make sure that others are going to benefit and have an opportunity to grow. And just as long as you believe in something, truly believe in it, no one wants to be hurt or perish or whatever. But we have to see past the tip of our nose. Sonia, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. So many times we learn the story about Rosa Parks, and Terry, I have to agree with you. so many people just picture her tired from a hard day's work, because we worked long and hard during those days. But what the reality is that most people don't realize Rosa Parks was only 42 years old. So she wasn't tired because she was physically tired that day. She was mentally tired. Can you imagine our mental status back in those days, being called nigger all day? Doing this, doing that from sunrise to sunset. So she was mentally fatigued. And that was the day that she was tired of giving in. That's why she didn't get up that day off of that bus, And then a lot of people don't realize, too, that Montgomery bus boycott, that was the second time she ran into that same old bus driver, right? So it was so much into play during that time. But that's what I'm saying. It takes some strong people. We are strong-willed. Our backbones have been strong for a long time. That sometimes, just like Fannie Lou Hamer used to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, Rosa Parks that day was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if it had not been for her, where would we have been now? And then it shows you how we as Black people could mobilize. That was one of the best scenes in America. If we could replay that again, that's what we need to do. Because Black people, I don't want to hear about we don't come together or we came together. You didn't see too many people riding that bus. We almost shut them all down, did we? We walked to work. We rode in cars. We did everything we could do to get to work, and we helped each other because that's what we do. Collectively together, that's where our strength lies.
That is, I believe that because, courage is so important in standing up for what you believe in, especially, with threats against your life or violence against you. I think it's important that, people do not forget what the people before us went through for us to be able to, quote unquote, live the way we live, enjoy the luxuries, what we enjoy. There was always a price to pay, and those people paid it, whether, like I said, threats against themselves and their families. I mean, you hear about, Martin Luther King, what he went through, bomb threats, and Malcolm X at the same time against your family, but they still went and still fought for what they believe in and for the rights that they believe that we were entitled to. So we must never forget that. What are your thoughts on that? Anybody?
I agree. We could never forget, right? Because they really paid the ultimate price with their life. But nowadays, a lot of us are like jellyfish, right? We flopping just to keep a job, just to stay in with the golf partners, just to stay in with the status quo. Sometimes we don't even know where that line in the sand is drawn. If we don't stand for anything, that's why so many of us is falling for everything. It's time that we have to stand up and take a stance. Because if not,
we
lost
Sonia. There you are, Sonia. We lost you a little bit. There?
Yeah. Can you
hear me? Did I go off?
Yeah,
you
we
back.
can.
Oh no.
Hey, Sonia, just finish your thought, if you can hear me.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll tell you what. We're gonna take a station break. But we're gonna come back and hopefully Sonia will be back.
Keisha, what happened?
She was on the roll, and I want to pick it up. And Lala, if you're there, if you want to chime in with us, all you do is just pop in, turn your camera on, come on in, and chat with us until. Yeah. So we're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back up. We got a whole lot more to talk about. Hey, this is a very powerful topic. This is my first show of the month of February, and I have to do it with a bang. And so, Dr. T, when we're gonna come back, we're gonna pick it up a lot more. But I want everybody to smile, thinking about all of the things that we are thankful for, and what our forefathers put forth prior to and making sure that we are here. So it's your life. We'll be back shortly after the break.
I've seen a smile convey I love you. I'm proud of who you are. The one that keeps us close when we're apart. talking from the darkness of all that we've been through. It seems that there might be a way to leave behind the loneliness we've known and live again life of
Yeah, I know that, but how much y'all paying? I might be able to negotiate.
Hello, welcome back to Issue Life. Wow, we got this great panel here, and Sonia was on the road, and I think we had a technically difficult, but we're gonna get her right back on here, and we're gonna do what we have to do. That's what we do on the show. We do what we have to do, and Michelle, you had asked a question and you commented, and Sonia was in the middle of asking that. Can you repeat a little bit and give her the thought process so her brain can start triggering? Because I was looking at the veins in her head. I was looking at all of it. She was getting excited.
Well, I was saying that, the people, the pioneers who have fought for us, for our rights, the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X, and many, many more, even, going way back, Harriet Tubman, and just people who fought for us African Americans, their lives were threatened. Not only their lives, but their families' lives were threatened. And I can honestly say, maybe not a lot of people would continue to fight, especially when their families are being threatened. But I guess my question is, how much courage and determination and conviction these people, these amazing pioneers had to have, that despite what they believed in and despite their lives being threatened, how much courage you would say that it took for them to keep moving on?
I would say it took a lot of courage. When you really think about it today, how many of us today really would stand up for mankind? You even saw with the George Floyd incident, how many stood on the sidelines and kept their videos rolling. Thank God for that. But how many more walked by because they felt like nothing would change? It's just status quo. But back in the day, we had heart and we had gumption, because by that time we was really truly sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I think it takes 150% of a person, a woman or a man, to stand up for all mankind, because not only is your life threatened, but your families too. And what did? They burned us down. Think of Rosewood. Think of Ocala. Think of all of those black towns that they burned to pieces because of whatever, because they thought a black man raped a white woman or etc. They just burned us down. So you knew you was going to lose your house. You knew you was going to lose your cattle. You knew you was going to lose whatever monies you had. But yet they stood up. They really did. And, that speaks a lot to the volumes to our truth and who we are as a people. 10 toes down.
And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch this to a different perspective. We have so many amazing pioneers, right? But we also have people who started in the entertainment business, right? Who paved the way for us to get for actors and actresses to get the roles that they deserve. Let's go back to Hattie McDaniel, who won an Oscar for her portrayal as, basically in Gone with the Wind, how her character was portrayed. Now, people need to understand back then, that was the only roles that were available to African Americans. And you can even go back a little or forward a little further. Let's go to the Nicholas brothers. Let's go to people like Sammy Davis Jr., who, as talented as they were stopped from going into Caucasian-only establishments because of their color of their skin. But they rose to the occasion and just paved the way to the actors like Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington. So that's why I want to take it to a different level, talk about entertainment. And when we look at those roles now, especially Hattie McDowell, Gone with the Wind, some people just like, how could she portray a role like that? You got to think about how it was back then. So Dr. Terry, Sonia, do y'all want to comment on that?
Terry?
Yeah. So that goes to show you, how far we've come. Ironically, funny enough, there's a lot of people that have never heard of her before. And I mentioned to them before that she's one of the reasons why we do have these Angela Bassett's and everyone else, because I'm quite sure that they've heard of her before. But it goes to show you also what we had to do and the things that we've done. And with the limited amount of access that we had, and we took that limited amount of access and flourished. So when you talk about when you win these Oscars and Oscar nominees and all these different things that have been earned by African Americans, now we also got to remember folks like her in order for her to get her flowers as well. And then it's just, I sit back and I think about the theme this year, which is African Americans in the arts. That's the theme for this year's African American History Month. And I'm so glad that that theme was selected, because we're able to talk about people like her and all the contributions that she's made, because there's a lot of people that have never heard of her. So Sonia, I know you're itching and I know you want to talk more about it, but though that's just my perspective on different things and with the African Americans in the arts. And I'm so glad that this is the actual theme this year for our celebration.
No, I definitely agree with you. And I think what we as a people are so proud of is that no matter what we was dealt, we did it. No matter what we was dealt, we made the best out of what we were handed, right? So even back in those days, yes, those were the only roles we could play. We played them to the best of our abilities, right? Until we can open that door and hold it open for so many more to come through. That's how Viola Davis and, all of these other great people are coming through. And even though we still have a ways to go, it just shows our truth, right? Because some things that just can't be denied, right? Our talent, our voice, our history, it just can't be denied. So yes, you're right, Terry. The theme is definitely African American in the arts, and we have survived the best of times through our worst times ever, but yet we're still striving to continue to be the best that we could be as a people, right? Yes. And look at all the people that came the way. Look at all the people nowadays. We don't have to go through the back door anymore. And you know what kills me? They used to entertain in front of all the white establishment and couldn't even get served in that same establishment and had to go through the back door. let alone stay in a hotel. They couldn't stay there. And that always blew my mind. So they were good enough to come in and entertain them, but yet they had to leave. That always blew me away. I don't know about y'all, but how did y'all feel about that?
Well, that definitely blew me away. But unfortunately, that was the times that they were living in. And you mentioned, Dr. Terry, also about the arts. Let's talk about some amazing, people who contributed to the arts. Langston Hughes,
Yes.
a prominent figure of the Harlem Renaissance. He was a poet, a novelist, and playwright. And we also have the amazing James Baldwin, novelist, essayist, and social critic. He explored race, sexuality, and societal issues in the United States. And of course, we have Claude McKay, a key figure in the Harlem Renaissance. He also was a poet and novelist known for works like Home to Harlem, and also Zora Neale Hurston. She was an anthropologist and author. In his novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God is considered a classic of African-American literature. So a lot of people don't know about these amazing poets. And
You forgot to mention Maya Angelou.
I'm going to Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is well known, but who the people I was mentioning, they're not as well known as Maya Angelou, but they contributed, for their essays, for their poetry. So I just gonna leave it there, and if anyone wants to comment on that.
I think that what you just mentioned is so important, especially with the theme this year, with the arts, and it's a lot more that we did not name in that group that you just mentioned. But contributions to the overall effect of where we at today. I think we need to understand that it takes bits and pieces, and it takes in order to build what I call a platform of what I'm talking about. If you want to build a house, you want to build a foundation as big as possible. So it's going to require a lot of different pieces and a lot of different parts. And the people that you name, just put that in there, each one of their part and the pieces contribute to the foundations that we have to be, just like case in point yesterday, the Grammys and all of that. And it was just so wonderful to just watch that and have an understanding of it. Took all of these folks in the arts many years ago to lay the foundation today, so that many African American men and women have an opportunity to go out and do what they're doing and feel confident and don't have to feel afraid or et cetera, because the foundation has already been laid. Terry, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. The foundation has been laid. And with that foundation, we have those bricks. So all those bricks represent those folks who have paved the way. So you have Alvin Ailey, you have all these people who contributed and still have contributed in some way to a lot of folks who are in the arts. So when you see you Denzel, you think of Sidney Poitier. When you see film writing, you think of other people that have gone back years, and now they're getting their flowers. And some folks are finally discovering who these folks are, because I think it's important that the actors and the actresses that we have now that a lot of people look up to, that we always reverence those folks so that these people can be encouraged, because it's oftentimes, if it's not in front of you in social media, they don't want to read it. So we're able to encourage folks to go back and look at some of these folks who was in that foundation, who was on those bricks that were at the bottom, that's raising those bricks up at the top. It's going to take those actors and actresses and those filmmakers and those folks to always reverence those folks who have paved the way.
Wow. I want you all to hold that thought, because we got to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We got a lot more. We're going to talk to Lala, and we're going to find out what her thoughts and what's on her mind. And we're going to pick it up from here, because we got a whole lot more. And I tell you, Terry, as me and you was talking, I know 1 hour is not enough to do this show in a justice, but we're going to try to squeeze as many seconds out of it as possible. So if you want to be part of the conversation, whichever platform you're watching us on, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life. We'll see you shortly after.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be on it, to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, and my co-host here, Dr. Terry Spain. A absolutely fantastic show. Sonia, I love your enthusiasm. You can just feel it, you can see it, and this is something that I believe is so important that we talk about, especially in America today. We've got so many things going on. Our young folks, not only our young folks, but many of us as African Americans has lost our way. We're willing not to vote. We're saying that we're not don't have enthusiasm about the election coming up, and we're willing to go back to things that happened 6, 7, 8 years ago. And that's just crazy to me. I mean, why would we want to do something when somebody tell you what they're going to do and you're like, oh, no, I'm not enthusiastic about it. Yeah, if they want to send us back to slavery, they want to do this, I'm okay. I cannot fathom that. I cannot fathom how we as people think just because things might not seem to be the way that we see it in our vision. I understand our folk, I'm talking about individually, and that we're willing to go back to the status quo. Just tell us what to do. Tell us what to do now. I'm not willing to do that. So I want to bring Lala in and just get her thoughts. She's been watching the show, and Lala, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was so many. There was a lot of talk about people who paved the way. So we have to go back to the point that, Crispus Attucks, we have to go back to those forerunners who were fighting slavery from the beginning. Then we get into government, and of course we have Frederick Douglass. Of course we have all of these people who were standing up for the government trying to get elected after we have Reconstruction, and all of those people who were setting up townships, who were doing all these things to build America. Because let's face it, without us, there would be no America. We were here because we were skilled labor that could build, that could look at something and create. And so that is why we were brought here. And then once we got here, we made America our own. No one had to say to us, this is your land. We took solace in the fact we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to do our part. And even if you try to give us the scraps off the table, we're going to make a buffet. Okay. And so that's how I'm seeing it. And then when we get to the arts, now, of course, they try, we don't talk about Leontine Price. We're not talking about people like Dorothy Dandridge, who at the same time we have Marilyn Monroe coming into the forefront. Dorothy Dandridge was the one who she was copying, yet she became the breakout star. And because Dorothy Dandridge was colored, she became a footnote in history. We don't talk about those things. We don't talk about the fact that everything that we have done when it comes to music, when it comes to the arts, was taken, and when white people performed it, it became a classic. But when we were performing it, it was a Negro this, or a race this, or a color this. So you have to remember, we made the blueprint. They just copied what we did and just tried to make it part acceptable for their culture. So when we talk about what we contributed, remember, we contributed everything.
Wow.
We are the builders.
You're so right. And, I think that we need to, especially like youth and young adults, Tiana just put a question. I feel like today's youth do not get enough knowledge and understanding of where we came from with Black history. In what ways today can we reach today's youth to get them to better understand history and to better understand that we can't go backwards? T, 1 minute or less, and then I want we get 1 minute less, and then I want Sonia response as well. We only got 4 minutes left in the show.
Okay, I'll make it quick. So for me, I just think we got to get our young African-American kids excited about history. Let them know that, okay, you like rap. Rap was created by this person. You like hip hop. You like all these different things. We have to meet them where they're at and get them excited and bring more cultural events to them so that they can understand and see the importance of African-American history and what we've contributed. So that was a good question by Tiana. And then we also got to bring them to places like the Moore Center so that folks can see the sacrifices and things that was given to African Americans so that they can get out and vote. They can listen to those rap music. They can do all these different things, play sports. So that's one of the things I think that they should do.
What about you, Sonia, real quickly? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I definitely agree with Terry, and I just want to jump on and piggyback off of him. Not only that, we have a signature program here that's called Men on a Mission, and we have men like Dr. Terry Spain and so many other, Keyshawn Phelps, so many other young brothers that we bring in the youth so they can see them. We need mentors. We need civic engagement. We need our young men, even my grandson who's 18, needed to see what Dr. Terry Spain looked like. He was a Navy retired chief petty officer, and he looks like him, brown skin like him, right? So when they can see that everyone's not going to be in a NBA basketball star or NFL football player, but yet you have these other great profile jobs that you can do because it's okay to use your head. So I'm grateful that even Dr. Terry Spain goes around in our community and really tie and speak to these young kids, because actually it was another young man that just signed up to go into the Navy because of him. The role models that we need, we have to bring civic engagement back, and we have to bring, just like we used to have talent shows back in the day, well, our talent shows now are bringing mentorship to our young to let them meet each other, because, we have single parents raising kids, right? The mothers are worn out. They work in 2 and 3 jobs. The father's absent. You already know the story. Go ahead. Let's see what Lala got.
Well, hold on. We out of time with Lala. But I tell you, this is what I want to do. Hey, T,
Yeah.
I think in about a week and a half, too, I would love to re-engage my expense, do a part two, if you guys schedule permit, to talk about these things, because Sonia talking about the museum. I want to learn a little bit more about that. Sonia, I'm Navy as well.
Oh, okay.
And I think that the awareness we need to bring. Lala, get you back on here with us if you have time. You got to pop in a little earlier though. You know,
I was
because-
listening. I didn't show. I wanted to know what was going on, what I would have to contribute. So
well, you contribute a lot, and I'm going to tell you, hey, Dr. T, let's talk about that one if your schedule permits.
Okay.
Let's get these two young ladies back on. Let's expand Black History Month. I say the third week of February, if that's possible. And we'll just keep it going, because there's so many things that I believe that we need to talk about. So I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to come back on the show. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, we can do this again.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. I'd like to thank all of my viewers and listeners. I tell you, YouTube channel, It's Your Life Radio. It's Your Life Radio. It's Your Life Radio. Go to the YouTube channel. You can watch every show live, but subscribe. Oh, I like that. You can watch every show live, but subscribe.
Oh, man.
And this is every day, Monday through Friday, same time, 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I tell you, I want everybody to always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place.
Thank you.
It's your life. We'll see you then.